This is ASO Television News. Many thanks for joining us. I am Richard Alichinwangebe. The headlines. President Tinubu orders clear sharing of power subsidy costs. FCTA Labour reach midnight truce as strike is suspended. FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike says PDP remains a formidable party, not a charity organization. And on business, Central Bank of Nigeria releases FinTech highlights roadmap for the nation's digital finance growth. The news in detail. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed all ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, to use existing electricity sector laws to make the sharing of power subsidy costs among the federal, state and local governments clear, practical and open in the 2026 budget process. This was disclosed by the Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation, Dr. Tanielu Yakubu, during a keynote address at the start of a training program for MDAs on the 2026 post-budget preparations using the Government Integrated Financial Management Information System and the Budget Preparation System in Abuja on Monday. Yakubu said the President wants the burden of electricity subsidies to be clearly shared so that no level of government is left carrying hidden or unpaid costs. He explained that when any level of government decides to keep electricity prices low for its citizens, the financial responsibility for that decision must be clearly agreed upon and enforced. According to him, fair sharing of the burden will encourage better performance in the power sector and support stronger support for protecting vulnerable consumers. Yakubu told MDAs that they must now clearly show all subsidy-related costs in their budget plans and avoid pushing unpaid obligations into the power market as debts that later create problems for electricity companies and consumers. The Federal Capital Territory Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike and the Organized Labour's Union have reached a midnight agreement that led to the suspension of the ongoing strike and the immediate resumption of work by affected employees. The truce was reached after more than 3 hours of negotiations that stretched into the early hours of Tuesday and ended at about 3:50 a.m. The talks were led by the chairman of the Senate Committee on the FCT, Senator Mohammed Bomoyi, in presence of leaders of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC). Briefing journalists after the meeting, the acting General Secretary of the NLC, Comrade Benson Upa, alongside the TUC General Secretary, Dr. Nuhu Toro, said several resolutions were reached to restore industrial peace. Upa said the agreements included assurances that no worker will be victimized for participating in the strike, the immediate withdrawal of all cases instituted at the National Industrial Court, and a commitment by the FCT Minister to maintain mutual respect and sustain dialogue with organized labor. He added that the Minister assured organized labor of continuous engagement going forward. Consequently, workers under the Joint Union Action Committee (JUAC), as well as affiliates of the NLC and TUC within the FCT administration, were directed to return to work with immediate effect. The federal government on Monday flagged off a free nationwide training program aimed at equipping 10 million Nigerians with financial inclusion, literacy, and digital skills as it signed a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with 6 professional bodies. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who spoke at the flag-off ceremony held at the Presidential Villa at Abuja, said Nigeria could only maximize its demographic dividend if young people and women were empowered with relevant skills and ethical grounding needed for a rapidly evolving digital economy. The training program being implemented by the Office of the Vice President through the Presidential Committee on Economic and Financial Inclusion, PRISEFI, chaired by the Vice President, is designed to provide Nigerians, particularly youth and women, with essential financial skills, investment knowledge, and digital competencies for sustainable wealth creation. The professional bodies include the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria (ICAN), Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria (CIBN), Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers (CIS), National Institute of Credit Administration (NICA), Chartered Risk Management Institute (CRMI), and the Nigerian Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Speaking on behalf of the President, Bola Tinubu, at the event, Shettima described the MOU as establishing for establishing a framework for harnessing the collective expertise of the 6 professional bodies to advance inclusion, full capacity building, advocacy, digital transformation, youth empowerment, and support for small and medium-scale practitioners. He stressed that capacity building remains central to financial and skilled professionals across Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ezewu Nyesom Wike in Abuja. In the communique signed by Mohammed and the National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, the party also slated world and local government congresses for February and state congresses for March. It said that the party's NEC had directed the NCC in collaboration with the National Organizing Secretary and relevant organs of the party to issue detailed guidelines, notices, and modalities for the conduct of the congresses. The communique added that the committee had been directed to act strictly in compliance with the PDP Constitution, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) regulations, and judicial directives. The party's NEC also unanimously reconfirmed, ratified, and reaffirmed the full content, validity, force, and effect of all resolutions and decisions reached at the 104th emergency NEC meeting held on December 7, 2025. The party's NEC also welcomed and affirmed the judgment of the Federal High Court in Ibadan, which upheld the legality of the party's leadership and administrative arrangements, and directed INEC to recognize the duly constituted caretaker committee. The NEC equally resolved that all party organs, members, and stakeholders will continue to act strictly in obedience to subsisting court judgments and judicial directives. The committee therefore urged INEC and all relevant institutions to fully comply with the judgment in the interest of democracy and constitutional order. It further reaffirmed the legitimacy, authority, and mandate of the Mohammed-led committee with Anyanwu as secretary. In the same vein, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ezewu Nyesom Wike, says the People's Democratic Party, PDP, remains a formidable political force in the country and not a charity organization. Barrister Wike made the remarks at the 105th National Executive Committee meeting of the party in Abuja on Monday night. While warning members against viewing PDP as a charity organization, he urged them to return to the grassroots and rebuild the party from the ward and polling unit levels. The minister spoke extensively on the party's internal challenges, the ongoing legal dispute, and the way forward for rebuilding it ahead of future elections. He stressed that his concerns were solely focused on the survival, stability, and success of the party nationwide. Barrister Wike declared his keen interest in all activities of the Oyo chapter of the party as part of efforts towards ensuring its survival and success, while appreciating the calls for peace by the Board of Trustees, BOT, and the National Working Committee, NWC. Wike urged party leaders and members to remain vigilant, noting that the ongoing attempts to destabilize PDP. He cautioned that adversaries would not relent until the party was finished, but expressed confidence that such efforts would fail. The minister expressed confidence that any attempt by those he described as vampires to take over the affairs of the party across the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT, would fail. He urged PDP to rely on experience and internal capacity, noting that the presence of competent legal and organizing officers within the party capable of navigating the current challenges. Barrister Wike thanked NEC members for attending the meeting as short notice and urged them to remain committed to strengthening the party as Nigeria's leading opposition platform. He said that the party was now waiting for the caretaker committee to issue clear directives, particularly on the conduct of the overdue congresses, which he described as critical steps towards organizing a credible national convention. Senator Philip Tanimu-Aduda has described faith-based organizations as critical partners in promoting peace, moral uprightness, and social cohesion in Nigeria. The minority leader of the 9th Senate made the remarks while attending the ECWA Garki Women Annual Conference in Abuja. The conference brought together women from ECWA assemblies within and outside the Federal Capital Territory for prayers, fellowship, and discussions on leadership, family stability, moral values, and social responsibility. Addressing the gathering, Senator Aduda commended the ECWA Garki Women Fellowship for their sustained commitments to spiritual growth, peace building, and humanitarian service, noting that women's consistency in faith-based activities continues to positively shape families and communities. He stressed that women play an indispensable role in nation building, adding that sustainable development cannot be achieved without deliberate efforts to empower women and support their aspirations across all sectors. The leadership of Ekwa Gariki Church and the Women Fellowship expressed appreciation to the senator for his presence and continued support as the event ended with prayers for peace and progress in the FCT and the country at large. You are watching ASO Television News. Don't forget that you can watch us live on DSTV channel 392, StarTimes TV channel 127, and on Free TV, look us up on channel 507. On the UHF band, you can find us on channel 38. Don't forget also that you can stream this news live on our Facebook and YouTube channels. Now, still to come. Central Bank of Nigeria releases fintech reports, highlights roadmap for the nation's digital finance growth. And we'll be right back.
Citizens of the Federal Capital Territory, take note. On Saturday, February 21st, 2026, we will go to the polls to elect 6 area council chairmen and 62 councillors. Voting starts at 8:30 a.m. in all polling units across Amak, Abaji, Wari, Gwagalada, Kuje, and Kwali. Remember, no PVC, no voting. Check your registration status now and know your polling unit. This is our city. Let's get the facts right. Abuja Decides 2026. This message is brought to you by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, making your...
The resident electoral commissioner of the FCT, REC FCT INEC, Mr. Aminu Kasimu Idris, has tasked the media for accurate reports in the forthcoming FCT area council elections. Mr. Aminu Idris gave the charge at the INEC forum organized for media executives, reporters, presenters, and producers in Abuja. Our correspondent, Topsy Gimba, reports that the FCT area council election is itching in. As he observes, with just a few days to go, stakeholders are taking the gauntlet to box the TC issues to a proper shape. Realizing the role of the media in creating public perception, he reported the INEC resident electoral commissioner of the FCT, Mr. Kasim Idris, alongside some national commissioners and relevant directors, met with the media executive, reporters, presenters, and producers to engage them for a need of accurate reportage. Welcoming the invited personalities, the REC FCT INEC enjoined the media to strengthen and deepen democracy. He said of all the 13 activities required to be carried out for the February 2021 election in the FCT, the office has successfully carried out 10, remaining 3 to be completed. Mr. Kasimu said INEC is ready for the successful conduct of the election. In his opening remarks, our reporter said that the National Commissioner and Chairman Voter Education, Malam Muhammad Kundu Haruna, called for a frank reportage in the forthcoming area council elections. He advised the media to ensure it plays its important role by creating awareness for the good of the public perception. Many video messages were said, including the FCT NUJ's council chairman, Grace Ike, advising the media to avoid breaking news that will break the society. Presentations on various important electoral thematic areas ranging for elections in an era of digital age where misinformation and disinformation thrive, as presented by the Chief Press Secretary to the INEC National Chairman, Adebayo Oketola, and many other paper presenters were presented. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, has partnered with Zoid Energies Limited to introduce electric taxi vehicles services at airports across the country. The pilot phase will begin in Abuja and Lagos with 20 electric taxis already deployed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. The Chief Executive Officer of Zoid Energies, Ogochukwu Abiamkam, said the initiative is aimed at modernizing port ground transportation and supporting Nigeria's energy transition. He explained that Abuja and Lagos will serve as test locations ahead of nationwide expansion, adding that the project will be rolled out in phases based on demand and infrastructure readiness. Abiakam noted that the service will be affordable, fully compliant with airport regulations and inclusive of existing airport taxi operators, while also featuring cashless payments, digital booking, and dedicated EV charging stations. Abiakam described electric vehicles as a strategic opportunity for Nigeria, citing reduced reliance on imported fuel and lower transport operating costs as key benefits. The Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Brigadier General Olakunle Matthew, has charged corps members to uphold the core values of the scheme. He gave the charge on separate occasions while addressing the 2026 Batch A Stream 1 corps members who are currently undergoing orientation course at the NYSC Permanent Orientation Camp, Ede, Osun State, and the Kwara State Polytechnic, Ilorin. The DG averred that the virtues of selfless service, patriotism, integrity, and efficiency, commitment, and teamwork had been the pillars that kept the scheme waxing strong since its establishment in 1973, adding that the present and future corps members must continue to imbibe them in order to sustain the legacies of its founding fathers. He reminded them that the essence of establishing the NYSC was to foster national unity, integration, and development through harnessing of the intellectual prowess and ingenuity of the country's young graduates. The DG enjoined them to face all the orientation course activities with zeal, stressing that they were aimed at giving them better knowledge of Nigeria as a country and preparing them for the tasks that await them during and beyond the service year. Earlier, NYSC Osun State Coordinator Mr. Ekan Ita Kubianga reported that the 1,864 corps members registered in the camp were well behaved and taking active part in all activities. Similarly, NYSC Kwara State Coordinator Mr. Onifado Joshua told the DG that the corps members deployed to the state had been of good conduct. He equally eulogized camp officials for being on top of their game in tutoring the corps members. Chairman-elect Sunday Adewusi Police Housing Estate Residents Association, Sahara, retired CSP Nasiru Adeshina, has assured residents of improved security through architectural upgrades as well as the provision of basic social amenities. The chairman-elect made this known shortly after the declaration of the 2026 Sahara election results in Abuja, while commending the smooth process and overwhelming support. Our reporter Kabir Jibril tells us more.
In a bid to elect representatives who will steer the critical affairs of Sahara for the next 2 years, residents of the Sunday Adewusi Police Housing Estate in the Buhari Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory came out in large numbers to exercise their civic responsibility.
So we are looking for new changes. The previous ESCOs, they have really tried. We wouldn't say they didn't serve us well. They have really tried in their way.
We have a lot to do in this estate, which I know that everything is going to be possible with the way we are carrying the exercise.
After the long hours of voting and other electoral activities which extended into the night, the Sahara Electoral Chairman, Mr. Nnamdi Udo, announced the results of the 2026 Sahara elections, in which candidates contested for the positions of Chairman, Vice Chairman, Secretary, Public Relations Officers, among other key offices.
Mr. Nasiru Adeshina, having satisfied the requirements of Sahara Constitution by scoring the highest number of votes in that position, is hereby returned elected.
Speaking with ASO Television, the chairman-elect Nasiru Adeshina outlined his 3-point agenda for the estate over the next 2 years.
Enhancing the security architecture of the estate. In terms of social amenities like light, we have water challenge that is very difficult for the resident to have good water.
I want to thank the ELECO for their doggedness and making sure that we have a free, fair and credible election.
Members of Sahara community, including the outgoing chairman, described the elections as an opportunity for a fresh start and new beginnings for the housing estate. Kabiru Jibril, ASO Television News.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has published a comprehensive report assessing the nation's fintech landscape, highlighting key priorities required to sustaining innovation, strengthening system integrity, and supporting the next phase of digital financial growth. The CBN, in a statement, disclosed that the report evaluates the scale and maturity of Nigeria's fintech ecosystem, pointing the nation's leadership in real-time payments and identifying the structural factors that have driven recent growth in the sector. The bank added that fintech innovation plays a complementary role within the broader financial system, enhancing access, efficiency, and service reach while maintaining financial system stability and resilience. It identifies interoperability, proportional regulation, and effective policy execution as critical enablers for the sustainable development of Nigeria's fintech ecosystem. The Apex Bank further acknowledged that the publication forms part of its ongoing series through which it will continue to engage stakeholders in the financial sector, provide clearer regulatory guidance, and promote more coordinated implementation of policy initiatives. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has confirmed that electricity has been reconnected to the Nigerian High Commission in Pretoria following a temporary disconnection due to unpaid utility bills. The issue was addressed in a press statement delivered by the ministry's spokesperson, Kinyedi Ibienfa, who confirmed that the disconnection had raised concerns about the operational status of the diplomatic mission. While the specific amount of the outstanding bill or the duration of the disconnection was not disclosed, the swift resolution suggests the matter was procedural. The incident briefly cast a spotlight on the administrative and logistical challenges sometimes faced by the diplomatic post abroad. He affirmed that the High Commission is now operating with normal power services restored. The ministry's statement aimed to promptly disclose the matter, emphasizing the return to standard diplomatic functions. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has extended its congratulations to the Republic of Liberia following its successful election as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. Liberia, representing the African Union bloc, secured a decisive 181 votes in the United Nations General Assembly. The country will begin its 2-year tenure on the Council in January 2026. This marks Liberia's first return to the United Nations Security Council since a 1-year term in 1961, a milestone hailed as a success to its recovery and growing stature. In an official statement, the ECOWAS Commission praised the election as a resounding victory to the international community's confidence in Liberia's journey of resilience. The regional body pledged its full support and the backing of all ECOWAS member states to the Liberian government. ECOWAS stated that it would assist Liberia in building upon the work of the African group to promote West Africa interest in democracy, peace, and security within the powerful UN body. Key advocacy points highlighted by ECOWAS include the operationalization and full implementation of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2719, the continued advancement of the African Continental Free Trade Area, issues of reparations, and the ongoing reform of the Security Council itself. The election positions Liberia to play a pivotal role in shaping critical global security and policy discussions on behalf of the African continent. And that story brings us to the end of the bulletin for today. But before we go, a recap of one of our major stories again. We told you that the Federal Capital Territory Minister, Barrister Ezenwo Wike, and the organized labor unions have reached a midnight agreement that led to the suspension of the ongoing strike actions and the immediate resumption of work by affected employees. That's the news. I am Richard Alechinolibe. Many thanks for investing your time with us.